In the third step, we want to identify goals and policies to move us forward. And this is no different than what we've been doing for years, having these community discussions about what we want our future to look like and identifying goals and policies that get us there.
It is a real challenging thing to figure out what's right for the town, what's right for the forest as a whole, what's unique about our forests that really deserve protection, but also what are the values and strategies that we really need to support in our forests.
There are a variety of different benefits for a town to recognize the value of their forests and take steps towards maintaining them. Looking at it from a hazard mitigation standpoint, we do have some mountainous areas with some steep valleys. Ensuring that those wooded hillsides are in place can really help slow the flow of any stormwater, rainwater that's coming down through those valleys that ultimately end up in our broad river valleys and have created flooding. Also, the benefits from looking at it from the perspective of ensuring that there are places for people to go out and recreate. A municipality may also own a municipal forest, and that is a great asset to a town, and it does take some conversations about the purpose of that municipal forest, but you could be serving dual purposes as a municipality, being a forest owner, owning your municipal forest, and how you choose to manage that forest. So in thinking about your identified goals and strategies and policies that have been identified through the planning process, it's always good to identify tangible actions and identify actions that you know that are going to be realistic and ones that are within the scope of maybe the Volunteer Planning Commission or other people in town.
We can do something as simple as, in our region, say, well, you can look at our regional plan, and we have a whole series of policies around the forest area. And you can just, basically, regional plans have the same statutory requirements as town plans. You can just take our policies if you want.
So it's not for me as a state employee to decide what the tool is that the towns will use, but there's a whole spectrum of options that towns can choose from. So on the regulatory end, think about the town plan or the zoning or subdivision bylaws. There are tools there that can help regulate the pattern of the landscape.
Also think about those non-regulatory actions that you can undertake. Holding workshops or providing information to people, having walks in the woods.
Providing opportunities for willing landowners to engage with land trusts and do conservation easements. Even land management. Vermonters have been doing good land management for years. That's a critically important piece of maintaining forest integrity across the state.
Often those non-regulatory actions are those ones that can have some great impact.
Forests are central to our way of life and should be central to our land use planning.
I guess the biggest lesson I learned was just to not be afraid to do it. So it was a little daunting to look at the overall town, and especially this eastern side of Heinsberg that's mostly forested, and try to come up with a map that would indicate where the most important areas were. And I think it was largely with the help of staff at Vermont Fish and Wildlife to say, well, here's what we've seen from a landscape level analysis of the region and the overall state. And they were able to talk about what forest blocks were most important from a statewide perspective. A lot of what we do when it comes to looking beyond our borders comes with assistance from others that have that larger lens. So Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department, helps us on that front, keeps us aware of the larger landscape that wildlife work and live within. And the Regional Planning Commission, as I said, also helps us in that regard.
We have a very long, strong history of anti-land use regulation here. They're very much in favor of being able to do with my property what I want to do, and a lot of that has to do with handing it down to the next generation and talking to people about ways to ensure that they are able to do that without breaking up the forests. So we're looking at things like conservation easements and possibility of town forests and groups of citizens getting together to conserve land, and just talking to landowners about the value of keeping forest land intact. It's really important to reach out to individual landowners and talk with them about the value that their property has in remaining intact.